What's going on, guys? This is Liam here, and I want to give you one tip before you start implementing any of my advice. In terms of the foods that you should be eating, in terms of the foods that you should not be eating, it's all on my YouTube channels. Just go, this is Liam Stops Tinnitus. I've got a second YouTube channel, the first one I started, which is Tinnitus Treatment. You can go on both of these channels and look at all the stuff. Now, I want you to get an allergy test, and if you don't know what that is, there's multiple ways to get it. But the way that I got it was, you walk into you got to go to an MD, get a referral, go to an allergy specialist, and they give you all these pricks, and they'll just prick all the way down your arm, and they're going to make that noise with their mouth when they do it. They got to be professionals, and they get these little vials, and they contain different things. They contain soy, they contain wheat, gluten, sugar, dust, all this different stuff, animals. And when I did it, I found that I was extremely allergic to dust. And extremely allergic to cats and dogs, which was a shame, but I don't like cats. But I was more allergic to cats than I was to dogs, so it's no big deal. So what you might find out is that hey, you're allergic to fish, or you're allergic to a certain kind of fish, or you're allergic to a certain kind of medication. You're allergic to plants, you're allergic to pollen, you're allergic to bees, you're allergic to dogs, dust, meat, certain types of vegetables, and you're going to find that they'll be pretty interesting. And what happened with me was my arm completely just blew up on the dust. It just a big red. What happens is they give you the pricks. You go into the waiting room, and then you sit there and basically watch your arm, and you watch it start to swell, and you think, holy shit, I'm going to go into fucking anaphylactic shock. I better tell this fucking guy. And they're like, no, it's okay. Like, you know, it's small amounts, but it like took up my whole arm. By the time I went in the office, it was like, holy shit. Like, it was just, the whole thing was just, it was like, that's dust. And so I had dust under my bed, so I fixed that. I stopped getting so congested because it was just ridiculous. This was back when I was trying to figure out how to get rid of tinnitus. Trust me, guys, I did everything. I did everything under the sun. I got surgery on my nose. I did the fucking all types of diets, all types of this, all types of that, until I finally figured out what would work. And now I'm teaching you this now. But you still need to get these initial tests, because remember, there's no real one size fits all. Now, that being said, there is a process that you can go through that works for everybody. That's a process of eliminating foods, bringing in foods, testing things. If something gives you gas or indigestion or headaches or migraines, it might be bad, but it might not be. I know it's like, oh, it's so frustrating. I saw this really, really funny sort of picture that somebody shared in the group, and it said, you know, it was so good. It was like, oh, make sure you eat vegetables, but the lectins will kill you. Make sure you eat fish, but the mercury will poison you. Make sure you drink tons of water, but the fluoride will... And it was like someone else has like shared someone else. It was really funny. It was like, there's an upside and a downside to everything. Nothing is really perfect. Like, you know, make sure you fast. But then, of course, you got to eat something so you don't fast yourself to death. Like, too much of anything is not a good thing, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is you got to test some things for yourself. And if something sucks initially, think logically. If you're trying to cut out coffee and you're trying to cut out rice and pasta and all these things, look at the science behind it. You metabolize bread, rice, and pasta and the sugar and dairy, and it becomes sugar, and you get acetate ethanol, and ethanol is alcohol, and you feel good, but then you have the crash. That's why when also if you're mixing, there's lots of little tidbits. There's always little, you know, the 1% here, 1% here, 1% here. If you eat fats and sugars at the same time, not only do you increase your risk of heart disease, but you're fucking your mitochondria. You're fucking them up. So your mitochondria are what metabolizes the food. It's the powerhouse of the cell. It feeds the cell. It feeds the rest of the body, okay? And it exists all over the body, everywhere. It's in every single cell in your body, okay? So you're breaking your body's ability to process food. So if you go out for a dinner, if you're going to cheat on what I teach you, that's absolutely fine. You should be able to have a day off. And not like, oh, it's okay, you have a day off. But sometimes, I get it, you just need a bit of motivation, you just need a break. Just like you need a break from tinnitus. So if you're going to have that break, I would seriously implore you, if you're going to have a day of whatever, in the morning, have some fat. So have fatty food. So have some steak and some protein and some sustenance, and don't have carbohydrates with it. So for example, if you go out and you go and get a parma, we call it in Australia a palmy, and you go and get the chicken and the breadcrumbs and a beer and the chips, that's fucked, because the fat of the meat, which isn't much of it in the meat, it's chicken because they cut it off, but there's still fat in there. It's combining your mitochondria. It's going to have trouble to process them at the same time. So make sure when you cheat, you have fat in the morning, and if you're going to have shit in the afternoon, just have wine and crackers and bread, and a beer if you want, but make sure you have fat beforehand to help absorb all of the toxins, okay? Ideally, you'd be eating literally just a hunk of fat. That's what I do, just a hunk of raw fat. If you want to eat it raw, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. Pork belly is great for that, but just take that, okay? So, kind of went all over this video, but I wanted to make one. I'm trying to make more videos, but yeah, hope this helped. Get allergy tested. Testings on yourself, everybody's different. Everybody has different genetics. That's why some people can go through their life and experience the exact same thing as you and not get tinnitus. Because people are different. I know it's unfair. It's not your fault that you have tinnitus. Most of the time it's a doctor's fault, to be honest. He'll prescribe you bullshit that happens all the time. And that's a shame, but just know that you can fix it, okay? So if you want more information on this, click below. Go to liamsolvestinnitus.com/free ebook. Get my free ebook. Really, once again, go below, and it's really, really simple to follow. It's not too hard, okay? Talk soon.